One of the first things that came out of the main things that came out of our advocacy through the course of the Hamilton Light Rail project was the development of a housing sustainability and investment roadmap for the city of Hamilton. Before that, unlike the city of Toronto, for example, the city of Hamilton had no plan for how it would build affordable housing, what it would do. We had no housing plan. Our major affordable housing provider that we own, City Housing Hamilton, as I mentioned, that's on the board, had been cannibalizing itself, mostly selling off its own land to keep itself in operation and repair. And there had been a kind of a net overall drop in the housing that it had been provided. One of the key challenges and what triggered the housing sustainability and roadmap, and one of the things that I'm proud of myself and other activists in the city of Hamilton in pointing out, is that, as you can see there, that since 2011, we have lost nearly 16,000 units of below market affordable housing. Since then, we've been leaking a ton of units, but in the 450 to 500, 450 to $1,000 range. Compared to the new investment. And this is an older number because this is from 2021, but it shows what you all probably know, and I don't need to tell you that the city of Hamilton has lost 21 units of deeply affordable housing for every new one added. So the mass development that has been triggered by the LRT investment in our city has caused a massive hemorrhage in our deeply affordable housing stock. City Housing Hamilton maintains 50% of the city's affordable housing stock. They need to grow that number massively over the next 5 to 10 years. As you can see on this little graph here on the bottom, the top graph is actually to meet our share along with the growth that is coming, that is triggered by the Housing Master Plan and a whole bunch of the projections that we have for housing. Our own affordable housing provider is going to see its share of affordable housing slip from 50% to 30% in the next decade, if that many, and it's a massive crisis. This example here is one of the saddest that I can bring, and if any of you come out to see the train wreck documentary, you'll hear a little bit more about her story. So I don't want to spoiler it too much, but she was one of the strongest holdouts against the Hamilton LRT gentrification and really pushed hard back against them on losing her home that they were trying to take, and actually got a reasonable chunk of money to finally, I think it was around $10,000. They finally paid her to actually rent a new home, and then subsequently died 3 months later. And it was incredibly sad for us in the community and the people, but she had been fighting them literally for 6 years in trying to just keep her home on the LRT corridor. And she is one of hundreds of stories along that corridor of displacement where, and this is just Metrolinx based displacement. This is just where Metrolinx, we're not talking about private developers. This is city developers and Metrolinx developers who have displaced these folk. This report here by the Social Planning and Research Council in Hamilton did a deep demographic dive on the nature of the communities that were living there, their statistics, where they were from, and again on how they were damaged. And we again presented this to City Council in hopes that decision makers would be like, a little bit of a wake-up call. And that didn't happen exactly, but the federal government did step in with some funding um, through the Transit Affordable Housing Lab, through the SPRC, to run a prototype program that is been formed, whose idea is to send up a transit affordable fund that will help non-market housing providers, especially not-for-profit housing providers, compete in this space. We really need to be mindful of how these investments create an opportunity for private housing development, and how that private development is literally destroying our communities. It's displacing people. It's changing the cost of living massively in all of the places we live. It's evicting folks on a daily basis, including people I know well. And so one of the things I hope this group takes away from this is that it's not enough for us to move away from just community benefit agreements with organizations to say, all right, let's, get some better jobs, or we really need to focus on how these projects destroy our communities and what we can do combined to mitigate them.